to our first saint of the week. This week we celebrate St. Matthew. St. Matthew, of course, was one of the 12 apostles, and poor Matthew, he was kind of neither fish nor fowl. In reading about Matthew in the Gospels, you see that he didn't fit anywhere. He was a tax collector, according to the Gospels, and that meant that he worked for the Romans, and that made him a pariah to the Jewish people. He was consorting with the enemy, trafficking with King Herod. They didn't like that. He was shunned in the streets. He was spit upon. He was not invited to any dinners or any kind of celebrations. And then on the other hand, he was also despised by the Romans, who showed him no respect, looked down upon him, saw him as simply a vassal for their efforts. You can imagine Matthew's state of mind. His spiritual life was probably in a quandary. He didn't know where he belonged. He didn't feel he belonged anywhere. He was looking for something. He was searching for something. And I think in that way, he really represents most of us. We all search in our lives. We search for God. We search for meaning. We search for a purpose, something that says that we are who we are, that we are whole, that we belong to God. All of those things, all those questions come forward. In the midst of this, according to his gospel, in Capernaum, the city where Matthew is from, Jesus passes by his booth one day and simply turns to Matthew and says, "Follow me." 2 simple words. And Matthew immediately follows. To me, that shows the power of Christ, the power of his word, the fact that he calls him by name, that he calls him, that he reaches out to him directly with a simple invitation. This is really our own Christian journey that we're all upon. We are called by Christ many, many times. And we pray that we respond so diligently as Matthew did. According to tradition, Matthew, of course, became one of the apostles, followed Christ right to the cross, and then went forth as those teachers and evangelists that the apostles became after the time of Christ. He, according to tradition, traveled to Ethiopia, where he helped convert the king to Christianity at that time as well. We don't know a whole lot about his demise, as is true with most of the apostles, but tradition has said that he was martyred, that he was stabbed, according to tradition, stabbed in the back by a traitor to the king in Ethiopia, who didn't approve of his work and his efforts. I think the reason why St. Matthew appeals to many of us, and to me particularly, is of course that journey, that search that we're all on. We know that our search ultimately leads us to God. That's the only place it can lead. And it leads us to that fulfillment. It's interesting, in the Gospel of Matthew, which is attributed to this apostle, the theme of the Gospel of Matthew is fulfillment. It's about how Jesus fulfills the covenant, fulfills the old law, fulfills all the prophecies, and is the embodiment of God to us. And the incarnation is so special to the Gospel of Matthew. It shows us that Christ is right there with us. And for me, that fulfillment that Christ showed to us is what is then wished for us. Now, of course, we know that will be accomplished fully in heaven, but we all know, too, that in our time on earth, we are in a search. We're in a spiritual search for God. And we know that we have to have our ears open to hear and to listen for that simple call that Christ gives to all of us. Come and follow me. So, be a saint. This could be you. What else is there?